What up, folks? CLG here. Okay, this is me just being having preferences that are probably pretty dumb, and I shouldn't even be thinking like this. But I was just looking at some radios. Let's look at Kenwoods. I just want to kind of compare some different eras. So when they went to the TS440, the 430, this whole thing, where they have the big rectangle, everything's up here. It looks like to me the engineers went, oh, let's digitize all of this into this. The same big square rectangle for the TS570. So these two eras of ham radios, I don't like this layout. I know it's like, why? Why? What's the difference, man? You know, these radios each have their own qualities, and I don't know what they are. I'm just kind of talking exterior look of the radios. I never liked this layout. It just seems like weird. Here's a TS. What is this? So the TS430s. I guess here. They kind of started making the rectangle with the S meter and the digital readout and all that, but I can see that. And the 570 is a good radio. I mean, it's a good radio, but I don't like this. I don't like this. Going back to the era that I really like, the TS820S, where the 820S, they had all the switches here. I can zoom in on them. All of those send, receive, Vox, whatever, they were all switches, whereas the TS830S, those switches were all removed and turned into these kind of multi-function switches, which is probably better, I don't know. So this is the one I have. It's in storage right now, and it's mint. I can't wait to get this thing on the air. So just to aesthetic, examples of Kenwood radios where things changed. And it's probably really a dumb thing to focus on, but, maybe there was okay, we got to remarket this radio to resell it again. So let's call it the TS830S. Let's change the layout of the front panel. Let's have different switches that do multiple things. So I don't know. This is probably stupid to even bring this up, but those are the things that most people probably already noticed, but I just went, wait a minute. Why am I not seeing this now? Anyway, this one was $500. Some people think, oh, that's too much money. Well, it's not. If the radio is working, and if it's working really well, I'll pay the extra couple $100. So $500 should get you a TS820 or 830S that is in mint condition. So if I go down here and it says, oh, it needs some repair, great condition, comes with manual. So it seems like $500 for the TS830S, maybe an 820S, is kind of the going rate for one that is just in good condition, like in mint condition. I would pay that if it's in this, great. The power supply has been rebuilt. It possibly has new 6146s in the finals. It's aligned, it works, you turn it on. It's like having a brand new damn radio. That's just my opinion on a price of $500 for one of these. So my eBay account, I've got, of course, tons of ham radio gear and my little recently viewed items. And, as I've said before, I'm just window shopping here like usual. The Heathkit SB401, they made an SB400. Here's a 401. I have an SB303 receiver. This one was supposed to go with the SB301 receiver. I guess mine is a better 303. It's two more than a one. I don't know. I mean, I could read the specs and see what the changes were. I think the 401 had improvements. I read about it. I can't remember what they were. But some of these 401s, let's say just the one that's junk. This one's perfect, according to this information here. There's a couple other ones. The SB400 is not what I want, I think. I need to read about this. What were the changes? What were the upgrades from the 400 to the 401? So this would be the transmitter to finish off the Sugar Baker lineup that I'm going to build hopefully in the future. And there's probably, maybe I can get the, what is it? The matching scope to go with these two so I can monitor my, my modulation envelope. I don't think that's really necessary. Just keep the mic gain down and keep it under control, but that scope would be cool to finish out the station. And of course, the Hammerlin speaker, I don't know why these are so expensive, $160, but that's kind of the going rate for these. That price kind of varies, but this would be something, maybe I would pick this up at a ham fest if I go to one and they're available, but this would be the speaker that goes with the HQ180 that I have over there. That's, I don't know what shape it's in. It runs, but I believe it's going to have to be worked on, and I don't have any knowledge of how to work on this equipment. I could learn, there's no rush, but at any rate, this is the speaker that would go with that. I want a matching speaker. I mean, any speaker will do, but I don't care. I want the matching speaker to go with that radio, okay? So get off my case on that. Here's another gem. When these came out, the TS120 is whatever, TS1, I think they had a 120S and a 130 and blah and on. I always liked these. I don't know why. They're probably crap, but it was the coolest thing when they came out with this. This is the first of the solid state Kenwoods. And I always thought this was the coolest thing ever. I don't know why. I have really dumb reasons to like equipment, but this thing just, it's small, it's compact. It really, I think it was a good radio. There's not too many of these around that are in working condition. This one's $200. So for $200, what do you get? Absolute junk. Oh, this thing. Oh, receiver is very weak. So yeah, don't want it. So here's a Kenwood TS180. I don't know if they had a 180S or not. I don't know. Whatever. When these came out, I don't know. I heard a few on the air at the time when they were brand new. And when the guy or gal turned on the speech processor, I was like, wow. I thought it sounded great. It just had that Kenwood, I don't know, that sound, The guy probably had the MC50 microphone. I don't know, but this one's 276 bucks. They were like, they were in the thousands when these came out. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to buy one of these. But now, oh yeah, no problem. It's just another radio to buy, With that TS180, this one has all the switches. Let's see if there's an S. Is there? I don't think there is. No, I don't know. Who cares? Here, oh, they do have an S. Okay. This one's $319 on eBay. Does it work? I don't know. And what's the difference between the 80 and the S? I don't know. I'm not going to buy one right now, so I don't need to research it. But this one at the bottom, blah, blah, blah. What's the condition? Doesn't gotta scroll down millions of miles to find out any information on the condition. No power supply. Yeah, so it's been used previously, signs of cosmetic wear. So it's weird. It seems like the 180s, I've seen a few of them on eBay and they just look kind of beat to hell. I don't know if there's just, there really weren't too many, if these weren't actually that popular back in the day. But I've always, when these came out, I saw them in the radio magazines. I was like, wow, I gotta get one. So anyway, so $300, I could probably get one. But once again, it's how much radio gear does a guy want to get? I mean, do I want to line this whole place with ham radio stations all up and down the hallways? You go from one area to the next. I don't know. I don't think so. But it's an interest, and these things are cheap compared to when they were new. This is cheapo. I think one of the things about the older radio gear, especially the tubes, from the 70s and 80s and back into the 60s. That's about as far as I go with my interest on that, because I think they really perfected all tube equipment in the 60s. Before that, maybe in the 50s, some of the Collins gear. Never really was a Collins man or a Drake man, but those are fine equipment. And actually, Collins Radio was hired by NASA to work on some of the radio equipment on the Apollo missions. So Collins has a history of some pretty huge things. I don't know if you knew that. I just found out that the other day. Anyway, back to the subject. So that era of ham radio, even the TS-180, 120, the all transistorized, I like that era. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me, but I know we've got all the new equipment up the wazoo. That's great. But there's something about that era, the 1960s through the early 80s of ham radio gear that I just really like. I find it very interesting and like fun toys to play with. So, and I think also as far as repairing and fixing, the all tube equipment, the Hallicrafters, the Heathkit DX100 that I have, I could learn how to work on that stuff, get some test equipment over time, and just kind of go on some YouTube channels and just see people working on them. And I could probably do it myself, because that is what's going to have to happen. I think with the Hammerlin HQ 180, that's going to probably need some work, and I'm not skilled in that, but over time I could learn, or I could hire someone to do it. These things are really heavy, and I don't have a car, so I don't know. Maybe it's better I just learn how to work on this gear and exercise the old brain ski here. So that's something else too. But that's my little morning report here from CLG Studios. It's not much of a studio, but hey, making a video. What do you want? Anyway, have a good day, folks. 73, and we'll talk to you soon.